So guys, now in today's video, I want to go over my favorite duo drop spots for this Chapter 5 Season 1 map. Once again, as you guys know, we do have the Chapter 5 brand new map. This is going to be a completely new map, new biomes, new POIs to land at. Along with the new weapon meta, this is one of the many innovative things that Chapter 5 has added to Fortnite. And for competitive, there's going to be plenty of new duo drop spots, guys. And keep in mind that on this video, I'm going to be going over only 8 of the best duo drop spots. There's going to be plenty other ones that are really good as well. However, just keep in mind that these are the 8 that I really like. And also, I'm not going to be going too in depth about what each individual drop spot has. So for example, I'm not going to mention all of the various different attributes like slurp barrels, slurp kegs, and stuff like that like I used to. You guys can find all of that stuff on fortnite.gg by visiting the link in the description and seeing it for yourself. Without further ado, let's hop into this video. So guys, to start off, I want to go over Loot Lake. Now this is going to be at the bottom spot for me simply because Loot Lake is a tough POI to pull off. It's a tricky place to land. It's a very large span of area in the center of the map, and a lot of the chests are largely spread out, so it's really tough for you guys to actually gauge exactly how to land and loot this POI, especially as a duo. However, the really good things about this POI obviously are going to be the fact that yes, it's in the center of the map, and also yes, you guys have access to stuff like fishing and many other POIs if you guys want to W key, catch the train, or do anything else. What I'd recommend if you guys are landing in this drop spot is I'd recommend one of you guys lands around the gas station area up top, and then one of you guys lands at the little house down below. Then what you guys would do is you kind of loot in a zigzag pattern, and then you guys meet in the middle at the center island. That's generally what I'd recommend for how you guys are going to be landing and playing at Loot Lake. I think it's a viable drop spot for a lot of people who can land here very well. However, once again, it is tricky and it is kind of a learning curve if you guys want to try and land here. Alright, now drop spot number 2 is going to be in the northeast portion of the map. That's going to be Coastal Comms. Now this is actually pretty close to Classy Courts, and what this POI essentially is going to be is it's going to be a weather station up top of a mountain that you guys have kind of looking down onto Classy Courts. I think that this is a really good strategically placed location if you guys are looking to get some easy storm surge tags or some easy kills rotating into Classy Courts afterwards. Coastal Comms is really solid. It has around 13 chests, and you guys can get a lot of other stuff here. Obviously, you guys can get tons of metal because it is a weather station, and it's also a very small drop, so it's actually very easy to win off spawn fights here. You guys can land together a lot of the time. You guys will be able to play together, and you guys will have different advantages and learn how to use the high ground and the low ground to the best of your ability in this POI off spawn. Not too many people I think are going to be contesting you around here. That was kind of the problem with the Loot Lake spot as well. However, I think that in general, this Coastal Comms area is a really solid spot to be if you guys are looking for somewhere to get a lot of metal, a good amount of chests, and to have really good sight lines onto a major POI, and also really easy rotation if you guys want to catch the train near Classy Courts, or if you guys just want to get a car from a local POI as well. I think that Coastal Comms is a solid spot. Now let's kind of move down to the southern weather station of the map. This is going to be known as Stormy Station. Now Stormy Station is going to be having 14 chests. I think it's a really solid spot for those of you guys that want to land somewhere that's like Coastal Comms, that meaning that there's going to be tons of metal in this area, and also you guys are going to have sight lines looking down onto a POI. In this case, it's going to be Hazy Hillside. I think it's really similar to Coastal Comms in that aspect. However, I think it's actually a little bit better considering the fact that it is slightly bigger, and also it's actually a little bit easier to rotate in my opinion. You guys can easily get a G-Wagon from Hazy Hillside, or you guys can find one in a local shack nearby. In general, I think that this is a really solid spot for those of you guys that want to rotate really quickly out of your POI, but also be able to play the game to your according ability. For example, let's say you want to leave here and you want a W key. You can rotate over to Hazy Hillside, get some eliminations there, and then continually rotate to other named POIs. In general, I think what makes this POI really strong is the fact that there's a really good amount of loot, and you guys are really going to be able to succeed in rotating out of this POI if you guys want to get kills, if you guys want to play passive. And also winning off spawn in this POI is going to be similar to Coastal Comms in the sense that it is a pretty small, concise POI. However, in this case, since it is slightly bigger, you guys are going to have a much easier time actually separating from your opponent, looting up, and then fighting them. That's why I'd recommend this drop spot to anybody that wants to land here. Now guys, let's move on to the next POI, which is known as the Riviera Station in the Dock. Now this is once again going to be another central map split. In my opinion, this is actually one of the best drop spots in terms of actual natural resources. You guys can get really easy metal, really easy wood and brick, of course. However, the biggest thing in my opinion is fishing. I think fishing is something that's not talked about enough this season. I think it's really valuable, and at this place you're going to have access to a water body and a dock in which you can actually get fishing nets and fishing rods as well. And then what you guys can do is you guys can loot, you can fish, and then you guys can rotate. It's also very close to the train track. One of the places is actually a train station, so if you guys are looking to catch the train, you 100% can. I think the Riviera Station in the dock is a really good example of a really good split. The only downside I see to this place is that yes, it may maybe a little bit contested, and yes, it's also very spread out, so it might be a little bit tough to actually play with your partner around here. However, that being said, I still think that it's really well played if you guys are able to execute it correctly. You guys need to get the best drop, land in either the same place or separate places depending on how you guys are going to fight off spawn, and then you need to try to regroup after that in a middle point. And then you guys can actually go on to capture the train if you guys want as well. That's a really valuable thing to do that not enough players do a lot. But of course, guys, that's going to be the Riviera station and dock. Let's move on to Unmoored Manor. Now, Unmoored Manor is going to be in the lower portion of the map. This is going to be really south, and it's actually going to be its small little sub-island of the competitive Fortnite island. Now, Unmoored Manor is going to be having 18 chests. I think Unmoored Manor is really solid, yes, because it is very, very secluded from the rest of the map, so you're unlikely to be fully contested and third-partied on off-spawn fights, but also because you're going to have a ton of metal and a ton of natural resources here, along with really easy ability to get a vault, which is one of the most powerful aspects of competitive Fortnite right now. You guys can get really solid loot for the whole duo really quickly. I think that's a really powerful attribute, guys. If you can kill the boss, you can get their weapons as well. Absolutely no problem landing at this POI, and you're definitely going to succeed in your duo games. In terms of how to split this POI, I wouldn't really recommend you guys split it too much. You guys are kind of landing at one big house, so just learn where to land with your duo and how to play around them, especially if you guys are fighting off spawn. Yes, it is tough to fight off spawn, but I think everybody can get used to it as long as they adjust to this POI's layout and adjust to the elevation changes that the mansion brings. And of course, guys, the next POI is going to be in the southwest portion of the map. This is going to be Sandy Strip in the Reclaimed Villa. Now, the Sandy Strip in the Reclaimed Villa is also going to be having 18 chests. It is another split, as you guys obviously know. However, what I think makes this POI really strong is the fact that it's not too wide of a split, and also you have so much access to vehicle mobility. You guys have G-Wagons, you guys have Lambos, you have pretty much everything you need in order to rotate around. What I think is going to be really valuable in order for this competitive POI to actually be used by a lot more pro players especially, is this actually needs a little bit more access to the actual train system. Yes, you can go to the train tracks and get on. However, it is a little bit far from the train tracks, and you do need to kind of have a little bit of a rotation to actually get there. It is quite close to the edge of the map though, so you guys can go and fish, you guys can go get resources from the ocean. However, I think it's unlikely that you guys are going to be going there every single time in order to devote all of your resources. You're going to have tons of mats, you guys are easily able to split this POI, you guys, one of you can land at the house, one of you can land at the other place, the villa, and if you guys are able to actually do that, I think you're going to be able to split this drop correctly, and also fight off spawn correctly when you guys have to land together, and you guys can obviously win that off spawn fight. Now guys, let's move on to the second to last POI. This is going to be the lovely lodge in Orchard Station. Now this is also going to be located down near the southern part of the map. This is going to be really south in front of the train track. There's going to be a station known as Orchard Station, and then across from that there's going to be a place called Lovely Lodge. These two are actually really close together, so yes, much as I would consider this a split drop, it's not really too much of a split if you think about it logically. Since the train tracks are so skinny separating these two POIs, it's pretty much just one drop in and of itself, and it's going to be having a whopping 21 chests. I think that this is a really solid spot, not only because you're going to have access to the train, but also because it's really easy to split and also really easy to fight off spawn. All you simply have to do is just either land the house or land the train station. There's two really valuable ways to play this POI, especially when you're trying to win off spawn fights, and everybody can learn them. That's why I've put this POI at my second to last highest one. In general, I think Lovely Lodge in the Orchard Station is really solid, also in terms of metal, and of course, like I said before, the train. I think that everybody should consider landing here if they have the opportunity to, and if they're willing to make the small rotate to the center of the zone. Then guys, my last POI, you guys know how I like to close it off with a named location. That's going to be Classy Courts. Now Classy Courts is actually one of the named POIs in the top right corner of the map. This is going to be really close to Coastal Comms, that other place that I mentioned before. However, the reason that I like Classy Courts is simply because I think it's really solid in terms of the amount of chests it has in such a small area, and also I really do enjoy the layout of it. Yes, the tennis courts do kind of mess up your layout of kind of height differences, how and where to build, exactly where you guys can actually elevate and where you guys can go down on the low ground. However, I think that actually creates a really interesting dynamic, because if you have the high ground and you learn how to play it in this POI, you're never going to lose an off-spawn fight. In terms of playing in duos, I think it's really solid to split this drop spot, land at two different buildings, or if you guys are contested, try to land at the same building and then try to win off-spawn fights, because with the whopping amount of chests that are here, you guys are never going to be short on weapons or anything else. Generally, that's what I'd recommend to you guys if you're trying to land Classy Courts. I think it's a solid spot for a lot of people, and I think everybody can really benefit from landing here. But guys, those are the 8 duo drop spots I'd recommend to you guys for Chapter 5 Season 1. If you guys did enjoy, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. I think that a lot of people are going to really appreciate this map as it evolves and as it keeps going on. As long as Fortnite can fix the movement eventually, I think everything's going to be going swell by the end of this season. The Lego Fortnite mode is an absolute hit, so is Rocket Racing. So in general, I think Fortnite can make a really big comeback as long as they fix the movement and they stick with a solid map and a solid weapon meta. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.